Hello friends, welcome to Technique. This is Normal here, and in this video we're going to do the detailed camera review of the Honor 9i. So we have unboxed the Honor 9i and also did the gaming performance test of the Honor 9i. So this is the latest smartphone from Honor with 4 cameras and a full view display. That's an 18:9 aspect ratio. So the important aspect about the phone is that it comes with 4 cameras, 2 cameras on the rear panel and on the 2 cameras on the front panel, making it one of the first smartphones with 4 cameras and full view display. So on the rear panel we have a 16 megapixel primary camera, 2 megapixel secondary camera for depth sensing and an LED flash and f-stop 2.2, and on the front panel we have a 13 megapixel shooter along with the secondary 2 megapixel camera for depth sensing and for bokeh mode. So again you also get a soft flash for the front facing camera, so low light selfie should be really good on this device. So now we'll open up the camera interface and see how good the interface is. So this is the typical interface you'd see on a smartphone, and here we have some additional modes. We have the wide aperture mode, which we all know you can take photos with wide aperture and you can get the background blurred with this mode. Then you have the portrait mode. So portrait mode is basically the wide aperture mode, but you get the beautify mode also included here. You can see the beauty level also is included in the portrait mode. Then you have this mode called moving picture mode. So moving picture can take a short film when taking a photo. That's basically like the live photo mode available on iOS devices. And you also see a lot of additional modes. If you just swipe from here, you can see a plethora of modes similar to any Honor smartphone. You can see photo mode, pro photo, video, pro video mode, HDR, night shot, panorama, and a whole lot of modes are included in this device. And if you swipe from here, you could see again there is 16 megapixel camera. That's the resolution supported on the rear panel, and some additional modes are also included here. So that's the camera interface. So overall it's a really good camera interface, plenty of modes and features to try out. Now let's go straight into the camera samples. First we'll talk about the rear camera in daylight conditions. So here are some of the samples taken in daylight conditions, and you could see that the color quality of the daylight captures were pretty good. It's vibrant and colorful images, and most of the users would love the images, but at times it did have a tendency to oversaturate the images, especially the close-up images. And the clarity of the photos also looked quite acceptable. But one thing what we didn't like about the camera was the sharpness levels and the noise levels, even in daylight captures, were visible when you zoom in. Basically it's inconsistent. At times we did get really great images, but most of the images did have noise even in daylight conditions, and if you zoom in you could see the sharpness levels was not very impressive. So that's the daylight captures, and even in close-up images you could see the images tend to be oversaturated at times, but other than that the detailing also looks quite good. Again, if you zoom in you could see some blurring nature and noise creeping in even in the close-up images taken in daylight conditions. So overall the daylight photos were a hit and miss affair, and very much inconsistent. We expect Honor to fix these issues with a software update. Now next step, let's talk about the low light captures. So we did share some low light captures on our social channel, and we found that most of the users said that the low light captures were quite good on this device, and we would accept that point, that the low light photos taken with this camera was quite acceptable in some conditions, and some images turned out to be really bad on this device. Especially you could see some of the samples taken with this device under low light conditions. Some of them really came out well, but again noise creeps in these photos. But when you compare with the Moto G5 S Plus and the Xiaomi's Mi A1, we'll be doing a comparison with these phones. So when you compare with those phones, you could see that Honor 9i lags behind both these devices in terms of the low light performance. Also at times you could see that the lens flare created an undesirable effect in the photos, and that's not really expected from a Honor smartphone. So overall, in terms of the low light experience, you would say it was a hit and miss affair. A lot of inconsistency in the camera samples taken, and a lot of noise as well. So we expect Honor to fix these issues with updates in future. Now here is the video recording sample taken with this device. Again, quite average recording. This device supports full HD recording, and that's the maximum supported. There is no 4K resolution support, and it turned out to be quite decent. The colors are quite acceptable, but the overall clarity feels pretty much average again. Now let's go to the selfie camera of this phone. So it comes with a dual camera, 13 and 2 megapixel camera combination, and here again we have the portrait mode, or rather the blur mode, that's a bokeh mode with the background defocus. That mode is available along with the beauty mode, and here are some of the samples taken in normal conditions without the bokeh mode. And again this photo was taken with the front camera, turned out to be quite well, but again it does have the tendency to over sharpen the images, which we have seen even on the Honor 6X and other Honor smartphones. It does have this tendency to over sharpen the images, but quite okay for a smartphone in this price category. But it definitely has a good selfie experience. And if you enable the bokeh mode or the portrait mode, you can enable both of them from the settings panel, and you also have the beauty mode included. And the bokeh mode turned out to be quite good, but again it is inaccurate. We did take some selfies with this device, and you could see that the edges of the selfies turned out to be inconsistent and not the best experience again. So overall the selfie experience was definitely good. So the selfie experience was not class leading by any manner, but definitely it is quite a good experience, and most of the users wouldn't have an issue with the selfie camera. So it's definitely a good improvement over the Honor 6X in terms of selfie experience. So this is a sample taken using the front facing camera on the Honor 9i, and this device supports a dual camera setup. We have a bokeh mode as well, and if you're using the normal mode, you can record in 1080p, and if you're using the beauty mode, the video recording is limited to 720p. And here you could see we are taking the video outdoors, and you could actually see how good the video has come in the front facing camera recording. We also took some photos using the rear camera in the portrait mode, and here are the portrait mode images. And here again you could see it is kind of inconsistent, and the edges of the subject was not very much sharp, and it was inaccurate, and most of the times the bokeh mode, or rather the portrait mode, was not that great experience. So that was a detailed camera review of the Honor 9i. So overall, while the hardware of the camera looks pretty good, it's a 16 and 2 megapixel combination on the rear and 13 and 2 megapixel camera combination on the front panel. While the hardware is good, the software processing was not that great, and this is probably the first smartphone from Honor which was not that great in terms of the camera experience. We expect Honor to fix these issues in future updates, and the imaging experience was kind of average. And the rear camera performance, especially in low light conditions and some of the daylight shots, did have a lot of noise, and the selfie experience was definitely better than the Honor 6X and a lot of other smartphones in this price category. But overall it was kind of inconsistent with the selfie experience. So that was the detailed camera review of the Honor 9i. Hope you enjoyed watching this video. Do hit that like button and also hit the red subscribe button for more videos. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you in our next video. Have a great day.